Look what we can do. Look how fucking beautiful we are. You think the men that built all this had it easy?
Hard men.
Doing hard shit, and that gives me a hard on.
ROX-TV. Tell us everything you know.
I actually discovered the meaning of life. I have solved the meaning of life. You are the meaning of life, because when you think about it, when your life ends, you don't know what happens after that. So that is the meaning of life, is you are in fact the meaning of life. Because once you're done, your perception of life, your life is over with. So solve that, actually. I was smoking a little bit of weed the other night and I was thinking to myself, meaning of life, got it.
So pay attention to your own life.
Right, like that's what I'm saying. Like when you look at what, and use it the right way. You know, we've seen what's happened inside the music industry, inside the underground. We've seen what happened to the gathering of the juggalos, people having a great time, people helping each other out, people fucking doing all these things, whether you're at DCG Con, whether you're at Astronomicon, whether you're at the gathering of the juggalos. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful time to be alive right now. It's a beautiful time to be a fan of the underground music, of the underground scene. I'm thinking back to DCG Con when I met Anthony. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, I see this kid walking around like, who's Anthony, right? So as I walk up to this kid, I'm like, hey man, like what's up? He goes, oh, not much man, just having a good time. Like, well, did you enjoy the show? Like, you know, the festivities from yesterday? He's like, no man, today's my first day. I'm like, what? He's like, I just came in today. I'm like, dude, all right, let me meet you, let me have you meet some people. I'll introduce you, right? So I bring Anthony over, he meets some people and shit, and then I get dragged over to the Carnival of Spirits fucking podcast, which I thought was dope. The Carnival Spirits podcast, man, that was like, that was more than just a podcast. So Anthony, he comes over and he's standing there and he says to his mom something, I don't know, they're talking. And I says, hey, come here. So Anthony, he comes over, sits right by me, and you know, Brooklyn Menace and his zombie pal, you know, they gave him a jelly donut. He enjoyed that jelly donut. Crazy McCormick looks at him, he's like, dude, how much weed did you smoke to get your hair that green? I'm like, bro, and Anthony's like, a lot. Like, he just had a blast. So after the podcast was over, I see him and his mom out towards the door. And I was like, where are you guys going? He's like, we're going home. I'm like, we're still going on? He goes, I got what I wanted, man. I got my money's worth. His mom's like, I have not seen him smile like this. He got his picture taken with everybody. I got to introduce him to Child's Play Ninja. He got to hang out with me for a bit. And he just had the time of his life, man. After everything was over, after the day prior, when everything was shut down and people kept saying, oh, DCG Con was a failure, DCG Con was this. I'm like, no, it just got better. It turned to the point of where somebody had an even better time than they probably would have had with the festivities that happened the day beforehand, when everything was up and running, the game room and everything. No, this kid just wanted to meet his favorite YouTubers. So I'm putting it out there right now. I want Anthony to go to DCG Con again next year. I want Carnival Spirits to go out there and I want them to do their thing, have their own set. Now, whether you agree with me, whether you disagree with me, whether you like CPN, whether you hate the guy, whether you feel the same way about Carnival Spirits, it doesn't matter. It's the message. It's what you're doing. It's how you perceive it. Now, you can be a dick and say, you know what? No, it was a failure. It was this because why? Because you don't like it? Well, yeah, well, that's not a very logical reason, is it? That's talking out of pure ignorance and hatred. And you can't sit there and debate me on that either. There is no questioning of that, because when you can look at something from a positive light, it's really hard to argue that. When I'm sitting there saying there's a kid that had the best time of his life, they spent $100, they still had to pay full price for a day pass, and they still had a good time. And they didn't go to that show that night either. He just wanted to meet his favorite YouTubers. We made that happen. Whether you are Rock and Magic Ninja Entertainment, whether you are a juggalo, whether you support Psychopathic Records, whether you're at the gathering, whether you're at Astronomicon, whether you're going to Attack of the Ninjas, it doesn't matter. When it boils down to it, it's what you do as an individual. See, I've been on the road many a times. I have met some people that were just going through some really bad shit. I was out for the opening, the start of the Dead Like Me Summon the Magic Ninjas tour. And I walk over to this woman bawling her eyes out. And I was like, well, what's going on? She goes, I just found out my friend from Ohio passed away. Like, we're from Ohio. And she's like, I'm up here. And I'm like, look, listen, you going back to Ohio isn't going to bring your friend back to life. Like, you miraculously being down there right this second, it won't change anything. You're here. Go spend time with your boyfriend. Go enjoy the rest of the show. Then leave early tomorrow morning and then deal with it. Because that's what your friend would have wanted. Your friend would have wanted you to stay here, to have a good time. Your friend would not want you to mourn over them. Because if they were your friend, they wouldn't be selfish like that. It can wait. Promise you. that everything is going to be okay as long as you see it from this perspective. As long as you go and do what you have to do, but you're enjoying life in the process, because you can be cut short tomorrow. So what you do today might define you for the rest of your life. They say first impressions last. Well, I didn't know anybody that I've started with now 7 years ago, 8 years ago. It's how I remembered them from this point, from this exact moment. And it wasn't just me that had figured this out, that brought this to my attention. It was the people around me. It was listening to their stories. It was being on the road. It's going to New Hampshire next week, where I'm seeing my friends from high school for the first time in 7, 8, 9, 10 years. That I've got friends that I haven't seen since middle school. And they're going to see me as the person that I am now, not the person that I was when I was in the 8th grade, when I might have done something embarrassing. We focus so much on so little, on the things that don't matter. And it breaks my heart to see that. But when you look at today, and you look at yourself, and you look at yourself in the mirror, and you think to yourself, I got this. I can do this. I want to do this. We are in the day and age right now, and I said this before on ROX-TV, and I'm going to say it again. This is the time where you can be and do whatever it is you want. This is the time. You've got the internet at the palm of your hands. You've got information, you've got sources, and more importantly, you've got the people that are going to have your back 110%. Those that love you, those that support you, friends, family, it doesn't matter. I've got Alicia all the way in Australia. I've got Inquisitor. I've got Sick Boy Kinsilla over in England. I've got ROX-TV right here in Michigan. I got my friends out in New Hampshire, and I got my homie Irate, who's got that animated video coming out in California, who hooked me up with my VIP. He's like, yo, you're coming out to Sacramento? We got to make this a good time. I got you your VIP pack. That meant the world to me. That shows me that people are starting to understand that when you do something for somebody, if they are good people, they will never, ever use you, and they will never do it for free. Now is the time. Get your head in the right place, in a set where you're thinking to yourself, this is my crew. I've got this. I've got the support. You don't even need the finances right now. You come up with an idea. You come up with an idea, a simple idea, and those that support you and will back you, you've got this. Promise you. And that's why ROX-TV does what they do. That's why we do, all of us collectively. That is why I work with ROX-TV on whatever projects they need my help with, because I believe in ROX-TV, because they are out there to do right by people, to do things to promote artists that have little money, that they're putting it all into their shows, into their merch, into their tours, into their albums, into their presses. That's what we need to start doing. If you believe in something, honestly and truly, if you believe in yourself, you will invest in yourself. If you believe in a certain cause when it comes to whatever it is, you will do it. Otherwise, you're not living up to your full potential. And again, as I have to reiterate, that is the meaning of life. I'm looking over here right now. There's a tree. It's a fake tree. It's a false tree that was built here in this prehistoric park. It is now fallen and crumbled and decrepit and overgrown by a legitimate tree. So somebody built a tree where there's already trees to add to the park, but when you try and mimic the original, when you try and not be creative, when you try and to take something that is not yours and to try and do that, the original, the essence of it will overtake and overgrow that of which is phony, because nature always wins. So when you think of your life and how you started and your goals and your dreams and your ambitions, nobody can take that from you, and you will overgrow those that are trying to take that spot. Promise you. Because if they're going to half-ass it, or if they're not going to go to the original source, and in this case, the original source is you, then you're not going to thrive. You will not survive. You will go extinct. And much like that tree over there, unfortunately, forgotten, and like it's never been there. So I'm telling you guys right now, do what you want. That is the meaning of life. This right now, there are underground artists, there are underground fans, there are supporters, there are promoters, there are street teams, there are people that are so happy right now doing what they're doing. And you have a chance to be a part of it all. At Attack of the Ninjas, at Lethal Weekend next week up in New Hampshire. There's always shows going on now. There's events popping off all over the United States, all over the globe. And we want people to experience this. That is why we collectively are once again the greatest of all time. And that is what makes us all last American rock stars.
If you've enjoyed this video from
ROX-TV.com,
make sure you follow ROX-TV on Facebook and YouTube. If it's underground, we're there.